The Texans defense propelled them to a second-round matchup to face the two-time defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Colts, the Chiefs took care of business in the regular season. Get us set up for this matchup. Who do you like and what do you like?
Yeah, great matchup. Listen, the Texans defense is playing great. You look at D'Amico Ryans and his press conference and things that he said is like, this team is built on defense. That's what we do. They picked off Herbert 4 times last week. I think they've got their hands full with Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense, but they're going to have to play lights out to keep them in this game. On the flip side, Patrick Mahomes, that's who we're talking about. This dude's a stud. He's got rest. His ankle's probably healed up and ready. They don't have as good of weapons as they've had in the past, but you look at Kelsey, you look at Worthy, you look at Hollywood Brown, you look at Watson. These guys are going to have to all play great against this defense. And then on the flip side, Chris Jones, McDuffie, I think this Kansas City Chiefs defense is just going to be too much for CJ Stroud in this offense, unless Joe Mixon gets going. He had 100 yards last week. It looked a lot better against the Chargers, who are a pretty solid defense. But at the end of the day, going on the road, the Chiefs are rested. Their eyes are on the Super Bowl. I think it'll be closer than what people think, but I think the Chiefs are just going to be too much to handle.
All right, well, speaking of that, Jay, what did you like that you saw from the Texans this past weekend? And is there any of that they can carry over into this game with the Chiefs?
I like the fact they survived the initial onslaught of the Chargers. You know, the Chargers drove down, kicked the field goal on the first drive. Then they got a quick fumble and they went down and they played great red zone defense, held the Chargers to another field goal. It was 6-0. The first 5 drives for the Texans, let me tell you this, 3 punts, a fumble, and an interception. That's not going to cut it. But they stayed the course. They played great defense. CJ Stroud made some big time plays. Nico Collins obviously had some big plays. So they survived the onslaught, stayed within the game plan, got Joe Mixon going for over 100 yards like Colt said. They got the big victory. So in order to beat the Chiefs now, they can't start out like that against the Chiefs. They'll be down 20-0 and they will have no chance to come back. They have to be two-dimensional. They have to be able to run the ball a little bit. They're going to have trouble against the Chiefs front, obviously. Losing Tank Dell is huge. We mentioned that. He had almost 100 yards and a touchdown against them a few weeks ago. That production is going to be gone. So I just don't know where the Texans turn to. Nico Collins versus McDuffie, that'll be kind of a wash. Who else is going to step up and make plays? Metchie, Dalton Schultz, I don't know, Joe Mixon out of the backfield. That's going to be the issue. I think the Chiefs got to win this one pretty easy.
Yeah, AQ, we had mentioned this towards the end of the season. We thought the Chiefs were peaking at the right time. Where have you seen the most improvement from this Chiefs team as we head into the playoffs?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, listen, they got their back, so that obviously the run game is going to improve a little bit the minute they got Pacheco back. And they get some receivers back, so that's going to help. The issue is they haven't fixed the tackle position. That's the biggest issue. You got Joe Thuney playing left tackle against Daniil Hunter. I hate that matchup for Joe Thuney because Joe Thuney's an absolute stud inside playing guard, but he's got 31-inch arms, and he's going against a guy who's Avatar, literally Avatar. He's got 40-inch arms, one of the best rushers in all of football. And so if they don't get that fixed or have a plan of attack for chip help the entire game, chip plus slide, I mean, I know you guys think the Chiefs are going to kind of roll away with this. This is going to be a close game, in my opinion. I think defensively against this offense, especially with this offensive line and the weak spots at tackle, I think this is going to be a tough game for Mahomes, sitting in the pocket, getting pressured a lot.
So you talk about the trenches up front for the Texans. Obviously, like we were tuned in, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson, Mario Edwards. Got to give a shout out, our weekly shout out to Tim Settle. Jay Gruden drafted him. He's a part of the Jay Gruden tree. But Colt, this secondary had 4 interceptions on Justin Herbert, who hadn't thrown many this season. They've put in some monster performances. What do you like from this Texans secondary? And what do they do to confuse the opposing quarterbacks?
Yeah, this Texans secondary is a product of their pass rush. They're very good. They're talented. They don't play a whole lot of different coverages. You look back at D'Amico Ryans, they were in our division in Arizona. They're tough. They are sound. You know what they're going to do, but their blitz packages on third downs where they go double B gap, where they get the wide nines and they're in a track stance and they're coming after you. Like an opposing quarterback feels this from the moment the game starts. Justin Herbert felt this from the very beginning. And all of a sudden, as it just squeezes down throughout the game and he just feels this pressure, even if he's not getting the hit, he's just getting nudged on the shoulder. That makes a huge difference. And the Texans secondary is good enough to prey on that. And so this is a well-designed unit. They attack your protections. Across the board, they are going to get home. You can't hold on the ball very long. And like AQ said, I do think that the Texans secondary is really good, but they're a product of this front And this pass rush, the Chiefs' offensive line has their hands full, no doubt.
All right, if we are the secondary of the Chiefs, our viewers at home is the front line of the Chiefs, because you guys are delivering, making us look good. We asked for 20,000 subscribers. You got us closing in on 15,000 right now. We just had our best week on the channel. Our goal by the end of these playoffs is to be at 20,000. To get there, let's hammer through 15,000 subscribers. Drop the like, drop subscribe. Let us know how you feel about this Texans-Chiefs matchup. Jay, I want to get back into this matchup. Andy Reid is a Hall of Fame coach, going down as one of the best to ever do it. We always talk about you never want to give Andy Reid extra time to prepare. He's had a few weeks now, and he's going to have I'm sure he was looking at the Texans and the Chargers. He has a longer time to prepare. What does a longer period to prepare do for a coach versus a shorter? Give us both sides of that spectrum.
Well, according to AQ Shipley, he better have his tackle on the monkey bars hanging and try to get longer arms, right, AQ?
That's right.
What you do is you take your time and you really put in the right amount of time for each situation. You really dominate the situational type plays, the red zone, the third down package. Now you can draw up some special shifts and motions and all that stuff to really create the matchups that you really need to exploit. And I think that's what Andy Reid does as good as anybody. So they're going to have a great plan offensively and defensively for this Texan team. And don't be surprised if he throws in a little wrinkle down into the red zone, some kind of crazy trick play that throw it to a 300-pound lineman or something like that for a touchdown. So he'll dominate the script with a really good plan for third down, red zone, short yardage, all that stuff. 2 minute. He's great at that. Giving him more time is not good for the Texans.
Is there anything as over preparing? Like, he may look at it too much. Like, I remember sometimes you watch Aaron Donald on film and you just watch the sack and the pressure tape and you're like, this guy's unguardable. Is there any way that you could over prepare?
I don't think so, because they played Texas not too long ago. So you have that tape. That's going to be your number one film. And obviously what they did the last couple of weeks, the Texans. And then you're going to watch Baltimore, how Baltimore beat them 31-2, for God's sake. So you're going to have a plan. Watch those games. Check out all the early blitzes, what they had success with offensively and defensively, and come up with a plan. There's no doubt about it. You can't over prepare. You go a little bit mentally crazy when you're looking at all these blitzes and all these formations, all these plays. But at the end of the day, he's going to do what they do best, what Patrick Mahomes is comfortable with. They're not going to try to reinvent football, for goodness sakes. They're going to get the ball to Travis Kelce. They're going to get the ball in the perimeter to their receivers. Hop's going to have some plays in the slot. So they're going to do what they do well. Pacheco's going to have his runs, and they're going to dominate the line of scrimmage and win the game. It's what they're going to do.
AQ, I'm going to do this real quick. Give me the pitch. And you kind of started down this path earlier in the segment. How can the Texans win? Let's try to convince Gruden to take the Texans in this one like we do every week.
Not a chance.
Give me the perfect game script for the Houston Texans to upset the Chiefs.
They have to get a lead, period.
They scored 2 points against Baltimore.
I hear you, but you're telling me to give you the pitch. I'm giving you the pitch.
I just hit it out of the park.
Will they hit it? I don't know. But they're going to have to get a lead. They're going to have to play much faster from the start than they did last week. They're going to have a really good plan of attack, starting with running the football, which is going to be a very tall task against this Kansas City Chiefs team. But they're going to have to get a lead. Their defense is going to have to create a turnover. And then once you get that, now you can let that defensive front eat. They got studs all across that defensive front. If they can get a lead and now get pressure on the quarterback, make Mahomes uncomfortable, you might be able to steal some interceptions. In football, every game means more during the playoffs, and you can start your own personal playoffs on Underdog, where you could cash in on touchdowns, interceptions, yards, or more. All you have to do is pick higher or lower, and you could take home up to 1,000 times your money if you get your picks right. It's that simple. Millions of fans have already won billions of dollars making picks. Sign up for Underdog today using promo code POCKET, capital POCKET, and you'll get a free pick as a part of your first cash entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Again, that's promo code POCKET.
We know where Jay's going on this one. Let me give a quick update on where everyone stands in the rankings right now. I took the lead last week. I had a 5-1 record last week, so I'm now at 28-13. Colt is in second. He went 4-2 last week. He's 27-14. Jay went 3-3. He's 26-15. AQ went 3-3. He's 23-18. I want to do this. We're all going to pick the winner of this game, and I think this may be a little bit anticlimactic here, but also pick a player of the game. Who's going to win the best player in this game? I will go first. I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to go against AQ Shipley. I'm going with the short arm Kings. I'm going with Joe Thuney. He's going to get the game ball at the end of this game. You're next, Colt. Who do you have in this one? And your player of the game.
Joe Thuney as the player of the game. Okay, I'll be watching that matchup. I got the Chiefs here. You're coming off a bye week. They're rested. And I think Travis Kelce is going to make the biggest difference in this game. It's time for him to really show up, and you look at this relentless pass rush of the Texans we're all talking about, and the tight end is the quarterback's best friend. They've played a lot of ball together. They'll take their shots down the field. They'll throw screens. But at the end of the day, Patrick Mahomes looks to Travis Kelce as number one a lot of the time. And I think, all this zone coverage and all these zone pressures that the Texans do, I think Travis Kelce has a big day.
Playoff Trav. Jay, who do you got?
The Chiefs.
Duh. Player of the game.
My player of the game, I'll tell you what, BayQ brings up some good points about the pass rush in the lead, but the player of the game will be Isaiah Pacheco. They're going to pound it. The greatest help for a pass rush is being able to run the ball, run it right down to Danielle Hunter's throat. I mean, I'm telling you, Kansas City can run block, and they will run block, and they'll have a good day with Pacheco. But at the end of the day, it'll be Mahomes, but I'm trying to pick somebody different. I'll pick Pacheco.
Q, is DJ Humphries not playing in this game, the friend of the program?
Sources say Joe Thuney is starting at left tackle. But I do think the Chiefs win this game. I think it's tight. I think it's tighter than I think most people are going to think. And I agree 1,000% with Jay, because here the narrative every year is the Chiefs can't run the ball in the regular season. And then we get to the playoffs and they play bully ball and they run for 100. And Pacheco does what he does and it takes them all the way to the Super Bowl, typically every single year. But again, like Jay, I'm going to try and go with somebody different too. I think the running game does well. Travis will make some plays. Mahomes will make some plays. My Pittsburgh brother, Justin Watson, will score a touchdown in this game.
Higher Justin Watson touchdowns in this game. You heard it here first. BayQ Shipley.